I'm seeing Andre 3000 from Outkast and how unique he is, how much of an individual he is, how much, what they're zooming me in on, and of course they're referencing Aquarius here, is he's tuned into his own wavelength, like his own unique frequency. He's very attuned to it. He knows what it is. He knows when it's compelling him to move forward. Whereas, we all have a very unique individualistic frequency that's nobody else can replicate. But a lot of times we're tuned into the collective frequency, or we're tuned into the frequency of our family and our friends and our coworkers and our classmates, or wherever we are. And so then we get caught up in the collective energy, the collective thoughts, the collective momentum, the collective style, and we lose our individuality, we lose our uniqueness because we aren't able to feel or sense our unique frequency, or we are able to feel and sense it, but we don't listen to it. And so this eclipse feels like a major reckoning moment because it is in a square with Uranus and Taurus. So it is a very unstable, potentially shocking eclipse energy. And I really feel like what I'm being shown is that whatever is being disrupted in your life, whatever is being toppled, whatever is being destructed, we've got chaos energy, we've got tower energy from the tarot. Things that were built on faulty foundations are toppling now so that we can reveal this frequency of authenticity. What may be coming up for you to work on as far as shadow work is processing moments in the past where you ignored your authentic frequency and you followed the collective frequency, you followed the crowd, and it went disastrously for you in some way, or it just didn't go how you wanted it to. And maybe there was an embarrassing moment, or maybe there was some kind of trauma. There's some kind of imprint around a time, or maybe multiple times, when you ignored your authentic frequency. And those may be coming up to you now for you to look at, how you were just trying to fit in, or how you were, trying to make yourself feel worthy through outward appearances. They're showing me that the authentic frequency, that your authentic frequency is so personal to you. It doesn't, we often see aliens to represent Aquarius energy, or let your freak flag fly. You don't have to be weird. I mean, you can, there's nothing wrong with being weird, but we have to completely dismantle this idea that authenticity even looks a certain way, right? Authenticity is a frequency, and it's a frequency that you feel that is unmistakably you. So maybe an exercise that you can do during this eclipse is to journal about things that feel unmistakably you, things in your life, thoughts, music, art, clothing, just anything that you resonate with that feels unmistakably like you. And you connect with it in such a deep way. That's the frequency of authenticity. And so I feel like with Uranus and Taurus, we are really getting the shakeup around what we value and what we deem as worthy. And so if you were attaching your sense of self-worth and your sense of value to something that was not authentic to you, that's probably getting ripped away from you at this moment, or about to. And if you're reflecting on those past instances where you were not in your authenticity and things exploded, then you're probably looking at a place where you needed to shift your values. Being shown that for a lot of people in this collective, a lot of these shifts in values have to do with money. Taurus rules money, and Uranus and Taurus has been destabilizing our finances since it went into Taurus in 2018. And there's a new higher money consciousness that is dawning within many people in this collective. And this has to do with, one, being deemed worthy. So again, that's what we're working on right now with this eclipse. It is finding your true sense of self-worth, your innate sense of self-worth, the self-worth that is not attached to physical things, that is not attached to your success or to your performance. Self-worth that is innate within you, the self-worth that nobody else can touch as well. So it's not based on anyone else's approval of you. This is the self-worth, and I just imagine this glowing, golden ball at the center of your solar plexus. This energy is pure gold. And when you tap into this energy and live from this energy, you are helping to seed this new consciousness on the planet. Whenever there is a square in astrology, obviously we know the power of eclipses. If you don't, eclipses are extremely, extremely potent times during the lunar cycle where we are thrown into fated karmic circumstances where everything could change at the drop of a hat. And if it doesn't change right with the eclipse, it will change most likely within the next 6 to 12 to 18 months after that eclipse. So these are times where things are just thrown up into the air, and then we have to wait and let everything land where it's going to land and watch the dust settle. Eclipses are already times of massive change. And then when you have a challenging aspect within an eclipse like this one, the moon and the sun are conjunct in Aquarius, and they are making a square, almost exact square to Uranus, which is in Taurus. Squares are moments of challenge, but squares are also opportunities for up-leveling. And so whenever you have a challenge of any kind, whether there's a square related to it or not, that is an opportunity for a breakthrough, especially when Uranus and Aquarius are involved. These are representative symbols, Uranus the planet, Aquarius the sign of innovation, of futurism, of forward movement, of evolution of humanity, of higher consciousness. So we really do get the chance to break free from maybe in a place where we were repeating loops, where we were stuck, especially mental patterns, since Aquarius is related a lot to the mind. We are able to, the card that I've been pulling for the last week or two, just on repeat, has been the Seven of Swords. And if you know tarot, the Seven of Swords can be about deceit and theft and betrayal and trickery, but it can also be about strategy. And it can be about, being resourceful and thinking outside of the box. And that is a major theme for this eclipse, is our ability to think outside of the box. And that comes from letting go of control. That comes from allowing ourselves to be emptied out, allowing ourselves to be brought down to our 0 point, which often requires us to experience some sort of loss, some sort of perceived loss, because it's never truly a loss for the most part. And that loss brings us to our 0 point, which then makes us open and available for this shift in consciousness, the shift to higher awareness, where we are able to think outside of our previous confines and download new information that is going to propel us forward into the future. You may be facing a challenge that is challenging your sense of self-worth and your values, and this challenge is requiring you to take a different path, to take the road less traveled, to do something differently, to change it up drastically, okay? Not just a little boop, okay, this little thing's different, but we're talking shocking, drastic, eclipse level change for a lot of people. I'm also seeing a tuning fork. So I do feel like, know that the challenges that you're experiencing, the disruption that you're experiencing in your life, wherever it is acting as a tuning fork. It is, if you sit with your emotions, which we're really supported in during this time, because we have a beautiful trine from Mercury in Pisces to Jupiter in Cancer, and then we also have Venus, which is conjunct the North Node in Pisces. So essentially our own emotional selves, our emotional processing, our intuition, the creativity that comes from being with yourself and being with your emotions and being with your intuition, all of that is highly, highly supported right now, and really is the gateway through whatever challenge that you're going through. So sit with your emotions, process them, because as you process them, what is on the other side of that is the new path, the new way, the change that you are being asked to make at this time. I'm also hearing that it's okay to be confused right now. There is a lot of confusing energy in the air. Saturn is conjunct Neptune in Aries right now, and so we don't have all the answers. Neptune can bring a lot of confusion, delusion, illusion, and so it's a foggy moment in time. especially with Mercury in Pisces and everything I just mentioned about the North Node and Venus and Pisces as well. Pisces is not the sign where we have the most clear-cut answers, where we have the most tangible answers. It's very watery, it's very foggy, it's very in the clouds. And so really learning to be comfortable with that liminal space is where we all are right now, and understand that underneath the liminal space, things are taking shape. That's with Saturn and Neptune. Neptune is there, but Saturn is also there. So things are taking shape. Saturn is wanting to bring form, and it's already beginning to do that. Slowly, though, it's not something that happens overnight. It's something that we have to patiently work at with Saturn involved. And so just remembering that things are happening. You're not losing anything during this moment or this period of pause. If you're in one, I'm also seeing the Hanged Man in tarot. So I do feel like a lot of us are in this pause, this surrender, this being hung by our foot so that we can be upside down, so that we can see things from this different perspective. That is the Uranus energy shifting and changing us into innovation. I also think a big message of this eclipse is it's not working for a reason right now. Okay, so with the Taurus energy, the Uranus and Taurus energy, we can get stubborn and we can want to dig our heels into the ground and say, no, this worked for me in the past. I'm going to stick it out because I know it's going to work for me again. It's not. It's not going to work for you. Most likely not. I can't speak for everybody. But if this resonates with you, there's definitely a chance that you're not meant to stick it out and make this work. You are meant to let go, and you are meant to transform and shift. In fact, I'm actually being shown that for a lot of people, you're so confused right now because you're so stuck on holding on to this thing, because you're so unwilling to let go. And what if for 24 or 48 hours, you just pretended like you were going to let go completely? You just put yourself into the energy of, I let this go completely, and see what transpires for you over those 24 to 48 hours, because I have this feeling from what they're showing me that you will receive the guidance that you have been begging for, and it's guidance that could not come through while you were holding on to this thing, whatever it is. It could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be any number of things, but you've got a death grip on it, and you know you need to change it. This is the thing. You've got a death grip on it. You know you need to change it, but you don't know what the next thing is, so you're unwilling to let go. And your spirit team is saying you need to let go first, because part of where you're going, you have to demonstrate your ability to trust the unknown, trust the uncertainty before you can move on to this next phase. It's literally part of the lesson plan for you to trust and let go before you get that next step. This relates to the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries, because it represents a dissolution and restructuring of the ego, of your identity. And that's exactly what you're experiencing right now with this disruption and with this calling to trust and let go before you have the answer or the next step, because it's molding you. It's helping you to let go of the ego part of you that thinks it knows best. And that part has to be gone for you to receive this next thing, whatever it is, because it is moving you into your destiny. It is moving you into your legacy, this next step. Feels like it's a major next step. And so your character and your integrity and your identity have to be prepared. They have to be prepared, and this is one of the steps in that preparation. You want to look at your birth chart if you can. Aquarius, the Aquarius part of your chart is where a new consciousness is being born, where you are thinking outside of the box. You're being brought into a new conscious awareness. Taurus is where you're being asked to let go of control and where you're being asked to do something differently. There's some sort of major change that needs to happen in the Taurus area of your chart. The Aries area of your chart is where you are dissolving and restructuring your identity to prepare for this major change, this major up-leveling. And then the Pisces area of your chart is where you might not have all the answers. You might feel a little bit foggy or confused, but this is also the area of your chart where, if you can spend some time in meditation or doing spiritual practices, being with your emotions, this is what's going to help you eventually arrive at clarity or clear some of the density that is creating the confusion and the fog in the first place. And remember, if you're interested in doing a deep dive on your astrology, as well as receiving channeled messages from your guides on what your next steps are and how to best align with your purpose and with your destiny, my readings are open, and I'll put the link in the description.